Hi, welcome you again. I'm Sabbir Ahmed, and in this lecture, I'm gonna teach you about Matlab function. So, in this lecture, you will able to learn about what is function and why we do use functions here in Matlab and how we can write this and what is the benefit or advantage of Matlab functions. Okay, how we can reduce time using Matlab functions, or how we can create functions ourselves. Okay, so in this lecture, all these things will be covered here. Okay, so let's see what is function. Okay, uh, function is nothing but in mathematics we do know what is function, right? For example, this is an equation, x square plus 4x equal to 6. So if we put any value of x, then we will get fx, right? Fx equal to y. That means uh, fx, a function of x, right? That means the result solely depends on the value of x. So for any kind of value of x, we'll get different values of y. The same way we can get different values of y. For example, here, so functions may be one dimensional or two dimensional. For example, here in this uh, for example, here in this, here we have one variable, here one, right? But if we look here, we have two variable, x and y, right? Okay, so here we do two dimensional. That means this function depends on, that means the result of this function depends on two variable, number one x, number two y, right? So if we put different values of x and y, then we'll get values, that means y, that means fxy, right? So it can be one dimensional or it can be two dimensional, or it can be three dimensional, or it can be multi-dimensional if you do have numbers of n dimensional, if you do have unknown n variables or something like that. Okay, so this is another function. This is called the logistic function here in dynamical system. So it is very important function because we cannot predict this kind of functional activities. Okay, so this is the same as usual. If we put x values, then we will get different y values. That means fx values. For different x values, we will get the fx values, right? So here only the x is the independent variable, and fx the dependent variable of x. So fx depends on y, x, right? So here this is also the this is the value. That means the y. This is the y. Okay, y depends on the value of x. Okay, the same at the same time, and this is the y. So this is the function. Okay, so what is function in Matlab? Okay, let's go to the here the function structure here. So from the previous slide, we know we have to put, that means we have to give the input values of x, x and x, right? Then we have to execute this functional operation. That means 3x squared, we have to multiply that values with 3 with x square plus 4x plus 6. So our input is x, right? Our input x values. So this is the input values. Okay, and this is the body part, because the body will be executed according to this function. That means the 3x square, right? 3x square plus 6 square plus 4x, 6 square plus 4x plus 6. So this is the body part, right? So this is our body part. So this is our input, this is our input. Okay, and this is our body part. Okay, okay, then on the basis of input, the body will operate according to this function, and then we will get output y or fx, right? Or fx, yeah. So in function, generally we do have three parts: the input part, okay, the body part, and then we have the output part, right? Okay, so same thing, this is the mathematical function, and this mathematical function is the same thing here in Matlab, the same. Okay, so I'm gonna show you basic structure of function. So we do know the input values here. Okay, the value of x and y, because we have to put we have to give the values of x and y to get the result. Okay, so if we provide the values of x and y, then what x and y will do? Okay, so this is the body. According to the body part, that means the function, and the x and will be, x and y value will be processed according to this function. Okay, so according to this function, then we will get a result there. okay, fx. So from this function we can get this. So this is the body part, right? And we will get the result output. Okay. So in a function we do have three separate parts: one, two body part, and there is a three output parts. Okay. Okay. There are several examples functions in MATLAB. There are hundreds of built-in functions. There are hundreds of built-in functions. So we are already introduced in first or second lecture what is the zero functions, what is the ones functions. Plot, using the plot we can get a plot, that line plot or something like that. Ones, zeros, that means if we give the input values this function, then we'll get a result. Zero means here if we get the number of m, and the input value will be the m and the n. M is the number of row and number of column. Okay, so if we provide these values and this function, that means zeros function will create a matrix m into n matrix, whose every element will be the zero. Every element will be the zero. Okay, so in this lecture I'm going to show you how we can make our zero functions ourselves. Here the same is one function. Okay, so let's go to the MATLAB. Let's go to the MATLAB today, right now, so we can understand what is function, how we can do that. Okay, so in if you go, we'll execute this function. How we can make a function in MATLAB using this function. Okay, so before going to MATLAB, we have to know what is the syntax of function, because MATLAB is a programming language, so it must have has its own language, own syntax. Okay, so how we can do that? So we have to write the function before we make or create a function syntax. Then we have to give the output values. These are the output values. Okay, then we have to provide our name of this function, and this is the input values of this function. Okay, x1 and x1, something like that. Okay, let's go to the MATLAB and then we can understand very well how we can do that. Okay, so let's go to the MATLAB. Okay, and let's make a new script here. Okay, so what is the basic syntax? We have to write the function efficiency function, and we have to put the output values. For example, output is z. Okay, and let's name what is the function. Say my first function. If it's my first, if you else it's my first function. Okay, and we have to provide what will be the output. Say x1 y. Okay, so we have already determined this is the output. These are the input values. Okay, and on the basis of these input values, a body will be operated, body will be processed. So we have to write a body, and this is the output, right? So how we can do that? Okay, the body. Okay, the body part, your body, yeah, the body part. Okay. So how we can write down here? For example, it's a quadratic function. Say for example, we want to use this 3x square plus 4y square plus 6x. Okay, say 3 3 into x square, 3 into x square plus 4 into y square plus 6y plus 6 into y, right? So this is the function. Okay, we have created this. What happened here? Let's go there and see. Oh, okay, I made a mistake here. This shouldn't be first bracket, this should be third bracket. Okay, the output value is always bounded by third brackets. Okay, third brackets, yeah. So this is our function. Okay, so whatever we put, whatever we provide the values of x and y, will get a result of j, right, on the basis of this function. Okay, this is a function. So if we write in MATLAB code, then how we can execute this? Okay, let's go to the MATLAB. For example, we're gonna say is a 5 x and y. We're going to use this. So we'll what is my function for input arguments? The double. Let's see what happened over there. I think I didn't. Oh, sorry, I didn't save this. I didn't save this script. We have to save this script. For example, my first function is Matlab, my first function. Okay, I have saved this and I have added to the path. Okay, so clear. Okay, so my first function, say I'm gonna put x value 4 and y value 6. Okay, so we are expecting a z value. Yeah, we've got a z values here on the basis of this function. Okay, so we provided the so this is the body part. Okay, so the body part is very crucial here in MATLAB and very complex function. It could be a body part can be a hundreds of line or thousands of line or maybe more than this, because it's very vital or crucial, because what do you want to be executed by these functions? Okay, so all these things should be processed, all these things should be executed by the body part. Okay, so this is the headings, heading part. This is nothing but all the main interesting or main thing is here. Okay, so what if you want to modify this function? So what we want to what if we want to um, give a series of numbers? Say we want to put a vectors of x, we want to vectors of x whose length is, say for example 5, whose length is for example uh, 5. Okay, because the dimension should be the same. For the first this should be the 5 numbers and this should be the 5 numbers, then we will get the 5 values of this function, right? Okay, if you provide x is a vector whose length is 6 and y is a vector whose length is 7, then this function will not be executed. So let's go to this and let's modify this function according to our. Okay, so for example a, so let's see what happens with this. Say a equal to 1 2 3 4. Okay, so these on one vectors. B equal to say 6 7 8 9 9. Okay, so this is another vector. So let's see what if we provide the values of a and b, then what it says. Yeah, it says that inputs must be a scalar and a square matrix. Okay, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. So uh, uh, here we are already want that inputs must be a scalar and a square matrix, but here this input a and b, both input a and b are vectors, these are not scalar. So we have to make our functions in that manner so that it can get both scalars and vectors. Okay, so we have to modify these functions. How we can do that? Okay, so we can do that. At first the length of x and the length of y must be same, so we have to apply our condition. So if, say, in this body part I'm gonna write all the things, all the conditions, all the loops here in body part. Okay, if alien gdays length x is not equal to length of uh, is not equal to length of alien gdays length y, then this operation will not be executed. Okay, then we have to write a statement that uh, vectors these inputs must have same dimension. Okay, and this should be executed by display function, display function str. Okay, so this should be executed by this. Okay, what is that? Oh, okay, so what is that? Fix. Oh, I didn't put semicolon. Okay. Anyway, uh, if the length of x is not equal to the length of y, then will be warned by this message that inputs must have same dimension. That means the same length. Okay. Okay. Otherwise, else if these operations will be executed, right? Otherwise, these operations will be executed and will have same thing. Okay. But there is one problem here. Else if this operation will be executed, but we have one problem. Okay, z is not a matrix. So let's see, let's execute this, or what it says. Okay, so let's write function here. It says, what it says, expression statement is incomplete or incorrect. Okay, why? Because we have some errors or something like that that uh, we didn't execute here. Okay, so let's see. Mhm. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, to execute this function, if we're going to, we have to make a function. We have to make a matrix of x whose length would be the same of x and y, right? Okay, so we have to create a matrix. We have to create a matrix g equal to z ers zeros, uh, whatever it may be, a one row or one column or something like that. So let's say one row and gts length of x. Okay, so for this, because we do have a length x, that means we have to execute this operation for the uh, all of the elements inside the x, right? So we have to use for loop for I equal to 1 to length length x. So for every 1 to length x, that means whatever the numbers are here, it doesn't matter, because we're gonna write this function. Okay, so for length of is, it should be here, the first value this I, this we have here. Okay, we can put semicolon here. So for the first value here, and x, the first value of xi, that means the xi, yi, this should be the yi. Okay, and we have to write n for this for looping. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, we will get a z values of that. Oh, we shouldn't write that, because if we had a other condition, then we could have write the else if, because otherwise, if this is not same, then this operation will be executed, right? Okay, otherwise if we have other conditions, then we had to write else if, something like that. Okay, so let's see, we save this. Let's see what happens right now. Copy here, and I'm gonna execute this. Yeah, so you have got this 1 2 3 4 values here, right? We have got the 4 values for different one. This is the a1 b1. For the a1 b1, we have got the 183. For the a2 b2, that means a2, what is the value of a2 is 2, the b2 value is the 7. We have got the 250 and so on, something like that. Okay, so we have got this here. So if we want to plot these functions, okay, or if you want to plot to plot this, for example x, y and z, then we can, this can also be executed here. Okay, what it says, you have to write the functions here. What it says, plot data must be a single matrix y, or a list pair of x and y. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Mm, so we have got x and y. Okay, let us do it in another way. Mm, it should be, let's see what happens. Yeah, we have got a value here, x and y. So if you want to contour x, you want to your contour x. Now you have it shouldn't be working here. Plot 3, PLOT plot 3, the x, y, and g value. That means this one. Then I hope this should be working. Let's see. Don't know, maybe. Yeah, we have got this here right now. Yep, this is the plotting or something like that. I don't know what happened here. So if we plot here, get a grid on here. Okay, so this should be executed by this. Okay, so we have got our plot. So what's the benefit of this function? My first function, if we do not have to write all the codes here because we made a function. And what is the operations of these functions? If we provide some series of values a and b, then we will get a we have values of a and b, right? So if we provide our values of a and b, then we'll get a plot and we'll get the result here. So this is the main operation of this function. So according to our preference, we can make our functions ourselves. So it can be scientific, it can be mathematical, whatever. Okay, so now I'm gonna teach you how we can make a function in zeros, right? So what zeros do, there in Matlab there is a built-in function. For example, j equal to zeros. Zeros, what does it do? So I have put 5 rows and 6 columns. Okay, it will create a 5 rows, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5 6, 6 rows, and every element of this matrix will be the 0. Okay, so how we can make this? So we can make this function ourselves. For example, I'm gonna teach you a function how we can do that. Okay, let's make another script here. Okay, so uh, uh, function, if you can function. So we have output value, say j. Okay, and let's name this function is my zero function. My zero function, or with the output uh, row, column. Okay, so this should be. So these are uh, the input values, and these are the output values, and we have to write the body function. The body. Okay. Um, this is the body PA or body part. Okay. So how we can do that? Okay. So it's not necessarily it must be a row or column function should be same. So we don't have to take that. Okay. We do not have to take that. Okay. Uh, but what we can do, for example, if we write a 0 here, okay, then it says empty matrix 0 by 6. So there is no any matrix. There is no any matrix having a 0 column or 0 row, something like that. So we have to apply a condition here, right? Okay, if not log, if row and if row is equal to 0 and column is equal to 0, and there is should be the and. This is logical operators. I'm gonna teach you what is that. Uh, this is the and I'm gonna show you. Then we have to write a statement here, for example. Uh, so I think we should put a single thing, so it could be better for us. Okay, here should not be JTR, should not be 0. Okay, DISP here str. Okay, same way we can write else if if row is not column, equal column, uh, then it should be column. Your value and column. Okay. Else we have our main parts here. If this is not the case, and if this is not the case as well, then we will have this portion to be executed. Okay. So how we can do that? Okay. Sorry. So we have n rows and n column, so we have to create a row times column matrix. Okay, so that means we have to execute, then we will have a row times column matrix. Okay, so we have to use the loop function or loop. So for I equal to 1, for example I equal to 1, so 1 row, and again for j equal to 1 to 1, so column, then we will have z values. Z should be I comma j, the value should be the 0, right? Yeah, so to end right here. Okay, so we did this. Okay, for row 1, for example here, for row 1, this is the row 1, right? Row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. So for it will execute the for first row. So for first row, this is a j equal to the column up to the column. Okay, so first row, first column, so first row, first column will be the 0. If this is the 1, if this is the 1, that means 1 1, that means 0. If there is 1, if there is a 2, so 1 2 1 2, this should be the 0. So 1 3, this should be the 0, 1 3, this should be the 0 until the column finish. Okay, then this operation will be the next row, that means the row 2. Okay, so the every values, every will get, so we'll get the z, right? So we'll get the z values here. Yeah, what is that? Determine the semicolon suppress the function. No, I do not want semicolon. Okay, I want to execute this my first function here, the Matlab course here. So let's see whether this function works or not. Okay, so my first function, I have to provide the number of rows and number of columns here. Say for example, same thing, 5 is a 5 and the 6. Let's see whether it does occur or not. Yes, we have got this. We have got 5 rows, 1 2 3 4 5 rows and 6 columns, and we have got the same two things. Okay, so we have to, this function will automatically, so if we do not write this, then function will automatically execute the values of g. Okay, execute the values of z here. So we do not have to write the z values here. Okay, so what if we can write this? Okay, this, yeah, right now we have got this, the z values of answer, something like that. Okay, so if we put z equal to something like that, then the z values will be this. Okay, 5 6 or whatever. If you want to put 6, if you want to put for example 5, then we will get the 6 rows and 5 column values matrix. So 6 by 5 matrix. Okay, so this is the function. So we can make functions ourselves. Say for example, would you have what you can do, for example, would you have in digital signal processing, would you have Fourier transformation, inverse Fourier transformation. So if you want to make a Fourier transform FFT function, then we can do that, because we have to give our input values, then we will get its input values, Fourier transform of input values, right? So we can make this kind of functions here in this Matlab. So Matlab is a very powerful software in this case, so we can do that. Even we can put it here 9, then all the values of this function will be, all the element of this function will be 9.8. Say this, all the values are 9.8. Okay, So whatever we write here, we'll get this function according to our function. So this is the benefits, the advantage of the functions. We do not have to write this course again and again. We have to, what we can do, we have to make these functions at first, then we can do that easily. So this is very easy. I hope you have understood all the things what I'm trying to make you understand. Okay, and thank you very much for your support to us, and I'm very sorry. I do apologize to you all that my English accent sometimes become very poor, and sometimes you may not understand this accent or something like that. Okay, but I'm not a native English speaker, that's why I do face this kind of problem here. But I do think language is not a barrier, because knowledge is shareable. What I know, I have to teach, or I have to share this knowledge to others, so that I can enlighten all the things around myself, around me, right? So language is not a barrier here. So I hope you have understood all the things, and in the next couple of lectures, I'm gonna show you several examples of functions, several examples of these things, or how we can write these functions, and how we can write everything, where we will use for loop, where we will use conditional estimations, everything, and we'll make some small projects or something like that. Okay, thank you very much for your kind attention here. I hope see you